Shalom. Giving all glory and praise and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone which rule well. Peace and much love, honors and blessings, salutations to the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, which hold their conduct, composure, and integrity, standing and believing, holding fast the faith in the true name of Yahweh, which is the true living power, who the world ignorantly calls God. And you have the only begotten Son, the Son of God, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. But his proper name and correct name is Yahweh Shai. Alright, which the elect stand on these names. Or as Apostle Gabar says, name, because there's only one true name of Yahweh and one true name of Yahweh Shai. Alright? So the names are Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So what you see on here on the screen is a video that a brother sent last night, or yesterday evening. And as you can see on CNN, the topic is about Trump. Which Trump, man, look, Trump is doing what the Lord wants him to do. All right, and you could tell that this man is that the Lord is using this man right now for his purpose. All right, Trump has been more stout than the fellows pursuing to Daniel. All right, he is totally running this place into the ground. But it's beautiful because the scriptures prophesy of Babylon, aka America, being destroyed. So everything that this devil does, whether it's Trump or another Edomite, it's going to lead to the fall and destruction of America. So we know that there is a power, all right, and that power is Yahweh. And he is a power that does not have pleasure in unrighteousness or wickedness. And he hates the bloody and deceitful man. And all that this devil Esau, the so-called white man, commits and does and uses with his power is unrighteousness, wickedness, commits violence, all right, and is deceptive and deceives. All right, it even tells you in Revelation 13 that this devil went out and deceived the whole world. Now we see how that's happened. We see how that's been going on. Got the whole world thinking that this man is to be the forever king of the planet. But even with the new world order that's coming with the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, spoken about in Revelation 13. All right, this devil is going to have, or he's going to find a way to remain the top, the head honcho of the planet still. And even though these other nations will not like it, it's still going to happen. All right. But nevertheless, okay. You got Trump now trying to, keep America from teaching bitter parts of history. And what you're going to see in this video, basically, trying to whitewash shit and keep the negative attention off of Esau and his history. And so the main thing that's always talked about that makes the so-called white man look bad in history is slavery. And as you're about to see in this video, one of these loudmouth bitches is going to speak wickedly concerning oppression. Try to, make it seem like everybody in the world has had slaves, and to an extent it's true, but nobody's ever been as cruel or done what the so-called white man did while having slaves. And we know who those slaves are, man. They're very particular and specific. It's the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians. And how you were towards our people, all right, towards the children of Israel, was very cruel and unnecessary. So I want to play this video and then speak a little bit more, and I'll get a scripture. So without further ado, here we go.
He's gone into the Smithsonian. He's effectively now has some random person deciding what is appropriate for the Smithsonian to teach in terms of American history, things that don't offend parts of the MAGA base, right? So we're now literally reviewing parts of American history and parts of American culture to make sure it comports with dear leader and what the MAGA
Can we
organization
address
wants.
some of those things that are in there? Because have you looked at some of the things that are being
slavery.
reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay,
Like
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not.
He's not. No.
Okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you let's talk about the fact that
slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
Do you realize that slavery?
So real quick, if you notice, this is always the main topic. All right, Trump wants to try to keep, negative attention off of white history. But the main thing that Esau has done that's the most known is his cruelty and how he ruled with slavery against the Israelites. That is what else could affect MAGA? All right, make America great again. See, what you Israelites don't think about or know is MAGA. The definition of MAGA is you so-called blacks, Latino, Native American Indians being slaves again, or open slaves, as far as when you couldn't talk or look up to a white man, you couldn't talk to a white man, you couldn't go in areas of white people. That's MAGA, man. Going back to the old ways, the old days, which we've always been slaves. It's just a different kind of slavery. All right. But that's what the definition of MAGA is, man. Make America great again is where Jake is slaves again, where we can be openly lynched and hung, getting our rods cut off, that type of shit. And Esau gets to live in happiness again. That's Esau being happy. Okay? But you notice slavery, what else? Okay, you don't want to talk bad about white people bad. What else do people usually bring out about Esau or the so-called white man being bad? Other than fucking the earth up, it's slavery. So, but you notice that this white bitch right here with the white ugly looking hairdo, she immediately started, talking shit. You could tell they're proud, man. She's a proud representative. You could tell she already knew where it was going. She had that little fucking proud smirk. Okay? Because these devils, man, they at the end of the day, they don't feel bad for what they did to Jake. Alright? And they're gonna bring up how only 2% of the Americans or only 2% of white people own slaves, which is somewhat true. Alright? But also to as this Jake right here to the right's gonna say, it's not about the fact that only 2% of white Americans or white people own slaves. It's the fact that there was a system of supremacy that was set up. All right, just because 2% owned slaves, that doesn't mean that only that 2% were restricted to their supremacy. The entire fucking country was under white supremacy, man. Look at the book, How the White Folk Got So Rich. The very first thing they mention is the history of the so-called white man and the system that he set up to keep him elevated far above black people, and it was all about being above the black man and keeping the black man to the lowest possible level that they could keep him. So, you look at you can evaluate Esau's entire history, and it's about keeping the black, Latino, Native American Indian man at a base state, or keeping them believing that they're nothing, basically just oppressing them. Okay? So before I play the rest of this video, because there needs to be a precept to this, all right? This is Psalms. Okay, hold on. I gotta flip my book. Psalm 73 in verse 8. It says, they are corrupt. Who is corrupt? You so-called white people, for what you speak. You're willingly dishonest about the truth of history when it comes to you. And the truth of history, period. All right? It says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily, like this proud, lofty bitch right here, as you're about to hear and see more. She spoke wickedly concerning oppression. You can't make it about imperialism or one nation. Yeah, you fucking can, because you're the only nation who acted the way that you did, man. And you know what? Let's not even make it about Israel, you so-called black, Latino, and American Indians. The way that you've treated all these other nations too, man, has been wrong. Okay? You implement something called policy in the entire planet. The word policy goes back to the word cunning, which means to be skillfully deceptive. So you skillfully even deceive these other nations to keep yourself at the level that you are. All right? You're still being a fucking liar, man. Regardless. It doesn't matter, you want to say, it can't be about one nation. Yeah, it can. All right? These other nations are they're nasty, but you're the ringleader of the wicked. That's in Psalms 83. All right? The nations that are confederate with thee, with Esau, with Edom, okay? You're the first nation that's named in that scripture, in that verse, in Psalms 83. All right? But you've been crooked, all right? You've been not upright. You haven't been honest with the whole world. But the ones that you were cruel to, the ancient ones, is the Israelites, because that's really what matters the most. And that's really what the scriptures talk about your special hatred that you have for us that perpetually tore at us. All right? That's why that's a focal point, because that's where man, there's been pictures, man. You use, Salaka, you use, children, Israelite children as your footstool. Okay? You had devices that you would put on small jakes that would carry grown-ass fucking Edomite adults, grown-ass white people adults, and these are children that are walking with you. I always mention homoeroticism. All right, you ate Jake because you want to fucking be us. But this nasty, weird obsession and cruelty and hatred that you had towards the Israelites turned into some perverted shit. There's so much more you can mention. You want to, the topic is not, or stop teaching white people are bad, but there's nothing good that we can say about you. And it's not the fact that we have a problem or a chip on our shoulder about the so-called white man. Look at your fucking history. We can't, you want to keep whitewashing history, all right? Or keep making it seem like y'all ain't bad people, but you are the fucking cancer, man. You are the nasty fucking people on the planet. You are the people that need to be done away with, because and I've always said this, man, any wiggle room to a so-called white person, they'll use it to eventually deceive. There's I can't remember who made the comment. A good Indian is a dead Indian. That's everything that's in this time to make Israel seem like we're the criminals, we're the decrepit, we're the nasty people, we're the ones meant to be ruled. Really, all of that is really meant to be put onto the so-called white man, because at the end of the day, you are the basis of all men. That's from your character to your actual image, your status. You are the basis of all men. You are at the bottom of the totem pole. All right, but because you've spoken wickedly concerning oppression, and you've whitewashed history, and you've lied, ultimately, you've propped yourself up to be this elevated person. But that's why the Lord tells you, it says that, though thou build thy nest up to heaven, I shall bring thee down. You actually have these skyscrapers and you go into space and all that, but you had an elevated status as well, man. You up there in the heavens. Everybody looks up to you. Everybody looks to you to make the right decision. Like what Trump did recently with the big beautiful bill. Everybody's waiting to see what the white hunk is going to say. All right, but that's gonna go away too, because you've been wicked concerning oppression. You've spoken loftily. You've lied. Okay, the Lord's gonna bring you down to the ground, and eventually people are gonna see the scripture say, or whether what is that? 2 Ezra 6, about the books being opened before the firmament. You know, the truth was hidden for a while. The understanding of the scripture was hidden. People didn't know that Edom, Esau, Idumea, who else? Teman. They didn't know that that was talking about the so-called white man. Well, now everybody's going to see it. Everybody can see, well, to a point, but everybody will eventually be able to see. It says all eyes shall see together. All right, everybody's going to see eventually what this devil, who he really was. Okay. So, anyways, let me continue playing this.
Is
We're
thousands
slaves
of
and
years old.
white people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
in America was the first race
I
to
didn't
try to
realize this was
end slavery?
controversial.
Wait a second. Well, what's
sorry, Jillian,
controversial?
I'm very surprised
This is
that
an
you're trying to
extraordinary
litigate.
exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really
Historical
surprised.
revisionism. Do you realize that?
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and
I'm
who
not.
was
What I'm trying to tell you is
in the
that-
context of American history.
Okay.
In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by
What I'm
by
saying
saying
is
that
you
it was white
cannot-
people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of past. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the
Jillian,
front door,
what exactly?
the first thing
Hold
you
on,
see
you
is
have
the
a
gay
Jillian,
flag?
you have a lot of stuff done in front
Yeah,
of
I
you.
do.
What
because
exactly
I don't, because here's the
are
thing.
you talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There's one called Change Your Game, right? This has been an installation there. Is gender testing fair in sports? Does that, and then it goes on to talk about how it's complex to do gender testing in sports. It's not
Okay.
complex, it's basic science. That's untrue. It's XX chromosome, XY chromosome. That's sports. Is it fair to have biological men competing against biological women in sports? No, but why is this in the Smithsonian? So it's
Well, look,
it's
I mean,
been completely captured.
First of all, I don't.
And it's
we,
totally
We don't.
partisan.
First of all, we don't have time to litigate
Of
all of
course
this.
we don't, because then you're
But,
gonna
but I
lose.
do.
Like what? And then they try, like you see what she's doing too, trying to take that attention away from talking about the most important topic, the thing that needs to be addressed. All right, because that's what Trump is trying to do, man. Because that, like again, anywhere you go, it is said white people are bad. That's the truth. You look up last, I can't remember how much it was like $44 million was sent, or was you? No, 200. It was like 250 million, I think, something like that, was used to test, and this was Esau allowing this shit to see, to test if animals are homosexual or gay, whatever. You waste 200 fucking something million dollars to see if animals are gay. You send in the millions to advocate for transgender rights. What the fuck does this have to do with any fucking thing on being, how does that make anybody good? You paid off institutions, all right, to what was it? Back in the early 70s, you paid off institutions to erase the fact that a person who identifies as being gay is actually a mental disorder. That's in all aspects is wrong, to wrong to say, I don't know how to say it right. But you're going throughout the earth, man, making shit perverted and perverse, and altering things, and you're not being an upright minister of this world, man. That too speaks against you. Okay? And can anybody say that what you're doing is good? Because really, when people look at these things that you're doing, You're spending money on this, you're doing that. You know, people are out there saying this ain't right, this ain't good, this is bad, this is gonna do something that's gonna, you know, it's gonna cripple our country or whatever. Nobody can really speak well of the white man right now, man. The only thing that you got going for you is your so-called democracy, because these white people, these lower white crackers, man, believe and trust in your shit. But we're gonna see at the end of the day that it's actually it's gonna make everything fall. All right, that's all I can really say. But at the end of the day, man, ain't nothing good about a so-called white person, and that's for all so-called white people. Because when it comes down to which, you know, Jillian Michaels, man, is a low-level bitch. All right, but you got even the lowest of the Edomites that have the same attitude. Man, I work with fucking crackers at my job, man, and they ain't shit. I make more pay than some of them, but yet they able to talk just as loftily, man, and have that same mentality of, you know, fuck the black man. Shit, they made fun of Jake yesterday. So when it comes to you white people, man, yeah, white people are bad, so-called white people, because, you know, you got people today that look white, but they ain't white. They could be another nation. So the point is, man, that, you know, in this video, it was about speaking wickedly concerning oppression. All right, and that's what, I mean, America's been trying to do for the longest time, but you see it more, and Trump's working with it now. All right, trying to make America great again, trying to hide their bloody history against Jacob. But it ain't gonna work. The Lord's gonna keep on revealing. Stuff like this is gonna keep coming out, and people are gonna be catching on like, bro, why do they keep always trying to dodge when being talked about with slavery? So, you know, Lord willing, this was edifying. Just wanted to bring this clip out. Esau, you're gonna pay for what you've been doing. You're gonna pay for your lofty words. The Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, will judge you. So with that, I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, Ba'Shem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone which rule well. Peace and much love, honors and blessings to the elect of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, which will the conduct, composure, and integrity. To the next one I say, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, Brakatam. God bless you Allah, Shalom, to water for tuning in, Shalom.